hard to believe how far this story has spiraled. One minute, Diddy's throwing lavish parties in Miami, and the next, he's sitting behind bars at one of the most infamous prisons in America. But what's really throwing people off is the name that's now floating around in the same breath as Diddy's, Oprah Winfrey. Yeah, you heard that right. The queen of daytime talk, the billionaire media mogul, the woman who built her brand on empowerment and healing. She's now being linked to one of the darkest scandals in entertainment history. And the person pulling back the curtain? None other than Denzel Washington. Let's start with the basics. Diddy's legal situation isn't just a slap on the wrist. This man is being hit with some of the most chilling allegations in recent memory. Trafficking, extortion, drugging victims, even involving minors. We're not talking about a rumor mill here. These are real charges being brought in federal court, and it all really started to blow up when Cassie, Diddy's ex, filed that lawsuit back in late 2023.
Okay, for now, focus here for a minute. Don't worry, their drama will keep going on. Think a little about yourself too. An Indonesian scientist has uncovered a shocking truth about belly fat, and it has nothing to do with diet or exercise. 95% of people who tried this strange bedtime ritual lost 25 pounds or more. Some even dropped over 50, all while sleeping. No gym, no starving, just one simple step before bed. It sounds crazy, but it's backed by science. Tap the link in the description and see for yourself.
Since then, it's been a floodgate. Cops raided his homes, confiscated disturbing footage, and uncovered what sounds more like a horror movie set than a celebrity mansion. Baby oil by the gallon, adult toys in the hundreds, and rooms allegedly set up for some real twisted stuff. The kind of things that make you look twice at every red carpet photo. Now, here's where things get wild. Out of nowhere, Oprah's name pops up. Not from some shady tabloid or online forum, but from Denzel Washington himself. Now, Denzel's no stranger to Hollywood power plays, but he usually keeps things classy. So when a guy like him starts calling out Oprah, people listen. He's respected, calculated, and doesn't speak unless there's a reason. And according to folks close to the matter, Denzel's been side-eyeing Oprah for a while now. Not just for how she handles certain topics publicly, but for how she treats people privately, especially Black women in the industry. See, the Oprah-Diddy connection isn't some new fling. They've known each other for decades. From industry events like the BET Awards to rubbing shoulders at Cannes, the Grammys, and even fashion galas, they've crossed paths more times than most fans can count. Diddy's even been on her show, where they laughed it up about his rise to fame and his business hustle. On the surface, it all looked like mutual respect between two Black titans who beat the odds. But now, people are going back and watching those old interviews with a whole new lens. Oprah's reputation has always been squeaky clean in the mainstream, but not everyone's buying the act. See, behind the scenes, there's always been chatter. Rumors of Oprah being tied to shady characters like John of God, a so-called spiritual healer later convicted of some truly horrific crimes. She once praised him on her platform, and when the truth came out, she quietly distanced herself. But the internet never forgets. Now that Diddy's case is exploding and names are flying left and right, people are starting to connect dots that were hiding in plain sight. And Denzel? He's not just mad about Oprah's associations. He's mad about the double standards. Oprah's been vocal about female empowerment, especially in Hollywood. She's front and center when it's time to uplift, to spotlight injustice, to champion women's rights. But what about when the women involved are Black actresses? Taraji P. Henson, for example, didn't hold back. She said straight up that Oprah underpaid her on The Color Purple, a movie Oprah herself produced. And she's not the only one. Fantasia, Halle Bailey, they've all come out hinting or saying outright that something isn't right when Oprah's calling the shots. So when Denzel spoke up, it wasn't random. It was years of tension boiling over. Diddy's white parties were the stuff of legend. All white outfits, endless champagne, celebrity guests that could fill 3 Met Galas, and behind closed doors, allegedly, things got a whole lot darker. These weren't just parties. According to multiple lawsuits and first-hand accounts, they were the breeding ground for some of the most disturbing behavior the entertainment world has seen in decades. What started off as glitzy rooftop celebrations supposedly turned into nightmare-fueled backroom rituals. And while most of Hollywood shrugged it off as Diddy being extra, The truth might have been hiding in plain sight the whole time. One thing's clear, these events weren't limited to just rappers and influencers. You had the biggest names from music, film, and TV floating through. Jay-Z, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kim Kardashian, Ashton Kutcher, Paris Hilton, even Mariah Carey. And yes, Oprah Winfrey herself was reportedly spotted at more than one of these high-profile gatherings. Now, that doesn't mean she was in the middle of the chaos, but it does raise questions. Because if even a fraction of what's being alleged is true, it's hard to believe that anyone attending didn't see or hear something. There were reports of women being brought in from overseas, models flown in under shady contracts, and guests being led into back rooms where phones were taken and the real parties began. Leaked photos from one of those infamous nights show barely clothed women draped over couches, clearly under the influence, while industry titans stood feet away sipping champagne like it was a normal Friday night. These weren't random club nights. These were controlled environments where powerful people felt invincible, and some might have crossed the line knowing no one would dare expose them. The federal investigation into Diddy's activities didn't just come out of nowhere. Authorities say they've been building this case for years, tracking incidents that span across states, New York, California, Nevada, and collecting testimonies from over 100 people. At least 25 of them were minors. One of the most disturbing accusations claims Diddy drugged and assaulted a 13-year-old girl after an award show. Others say he used GHB-laced oils during freak-offs, his term for intimate gatherings that allegedly blurred every boundary of consent. There are even accusations from men who claim they were assaulted too. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, where Diddy is currently being held, is known as one of the most dangerous and brutal prisons in the country. That alone tells you how serious this has gotten. And yet, while Diddy's empire collapses in real time, the spotlight is turning to those who enabled him or simply stayed silent. Enter Oprah. Her defenders say guilt by association isn't fair, that being at the same event or in the same circle doesn't make someone complicit. But her critics argue that Oprah, of all people, should have seen the signs, especially someone with her influence, resources, and connections. They're asking why she's been so quiet, why she hasn't come forward with a statement, any acknowledgement, even a denial. Her silence, some say, speaks louder than words. There's also a growing concern about how many girls from Oprah's own South African school might have crossed paths with the entertainment industry afterward. No one's made a direct link, but the speculation is growing. People online are questioning whether some of those students ended up in situations they never should have been near, especially considering Oprah's access to Hollywood circles like Diddy's. It's a sensitive topic, but it's not going away. With each new lawsuit, each detail more chilling than the last, it's becoming harder for those in Diddy's orbit to remain untouched. The walls are closing in, and people are watching closely to see who gets caught in the fallout. Diddy's legal team is scrambling. They've called the accusations outrageous, claimed the stories are exaggerated, and demanded the identities of the accusers be revealed so they can defend properly. But prosecutors aren't budging. They're keeping everything locked down while they continue stacking evidence. Civil suits, criminal charges, federal investigations. It's all closing in, and with each new report, the picture gets uglier. One lawsuit even details how victims were allegedly drugged using drinks spiked with sedatives, then assaulted in places ranging from mansions to hotels to, unbelievably, a department store. And the creepiest part? The use of baby oil laced with GHB. Not something most people just have lying around. It's no longer a celebrity scandal. It's a criminal saga involving abuse, coercion, and a network of silence that let it all fester for years. And the silence part is what's hitting people the hardest. For all the parties, interviews, and red carpet smiles, nobody with real power said a word when it mattered. That's where Denzel Washington drew the line. His name carries weight in this industry because he never played the game, never needed to. And he's made it clear he won't stand next to anyone who helps keep these kinds of secrets buried. Denzel's support for Black actresses like Taraji P. Henson and Monique isn't performative. He's been vocal about equal pay and respect, even when it's uncomfortable. That's why his criticism of Oprah isn't being brushed off. He's not coming from a place of tabloid gossip. He's calling out the system, the hypocrisy, and the people at the top who preach empowerment, while stepping on the very people they claim to uplift. Oprah's defenders argue she's done more for Black communities than almost anyone else in media. They point to her school in South Africa, her scholarships, her platform. And sure, she's helped a lot of people, but the criticism isn't about whether she's done good, it's about whether she looked the other way when it really counted. There's a growing belief that her public image has shielded her from accountability, and now that image is starting to crack. There's also the matter of how Diddy maintained his status in the industry for so long. Despite years of whispers and uncomfortable headlines, he kept climbing. Award shows, talk shows, endorsement deals. It's almost like the system was designed to protect him, as long as he played the game and kept the money flowing. Some are speculating that Oprah, with her massive influence and control over media narratives, may have played a quiet role in preserving his legacy, or at the very least never challenging it. None of this means Oprah committed a crime. But in this moment, people are less focused on legal definitions and more on moral accountability. If you have the power to expose darkness and you choose not to, aren't you part of the problem? That's the question being asked more and more, especially by the people who used to idolize her. Right now, Diddy is awaiting trial, and the list of accusers keeps growing. But the bigger story might be about the machine that allowed it all to happen. The celebrities who smiled for photos, the executives who signed off on deals, the insiders who heard the rumors and stayed quiet because it wasn't their problem. The cracks are spreading, and as the lawsuits pile up, it feels like a reckoning, not just for Diddy, but for everyone who helped build the illusion. Whether Oprah responds or not, the narrative has shifted. People are watching more closely, questioning more deeply,